to be honest, don't really know what I'm doing.
He was often a player that I would buy on Football Manager.
It's already a terrible reason.
From Jon Snow, Matt puts Dan's wardrobe to shame.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Look at him, the cat that got the cream.
Ian Taylor said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life. Monk, really, I know he's manager. What kind of say is
Gary Monk. 5 out of 10.
I haven't finished yet. I cannot believe Gabby Abonahor's.
That's crazy,
That's
isn't
terrible. It? Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot. Hello, welcome to the Villa View podcast with Thomas Julian in his resplendent white shirt and Dan Bardell in his casual black t-shirt.
Did you
opposites of each other today?
Did you look up resplendent before we came in?
No, just popped into my head. I don't know why.
Usually I criticise your vocabulary and then I'm called out on Twitter for me getting it wrong, so I'm going to leave it. Resplendent, good job.
He's just had a go at my diction as well, off camera, saying that I don't pronounce my words enough, so I'm going to make a conscientious effort to pronounce my words a bit better.
Two big words, early doors.
I don't know what's wrong with me. So it is the Villa View podcast, as I've mentioned, fresh from Villa's 2-0 win at Deepdale last night, 2-0 against Preston. And Tom, fresh from date night, missed the game, I believe. Did you miss the game? Did date night happen?
Yeah, it did happen, yeah.
Go well?
Very well, actually. Yeah, I went to a gig at Shepherd's Bush.
Yeah.
It was great.
Wife enjoy it?
Oh, yeah, she loved it. Yeah.
Worth missing Villa putting in a good performance and good win for?
Do you know what was annoying? Because it sounds... Well, I watched the highlights, obviously, but it was a great result for Villa. And but sometimes you've got to put Mrs J first, you know.
Don't be saying things like that in case my wife listens.
Well, she's not going to listen, is she?
No, she doesn't listen to this.
The thing is, with your wife, she knows that she's got like 2 weeks in the summer, where she comes first.
That's true.
And she seems to have accepted that.
No, she's a good girl. She gets looked after. She does get looked after, but she knows that Villa are obviously a big thing in my life. It's never been any secret, so probably move on from this subject just in case she does listen.
We didn't just have the Villa game. We obviously had the Preston game. Sorry, we also had the Birmingham game. There's a bit of news to get to as well.
Drab.
You know. So, should we start there? We should start with the 0-0 at St Andrews. What did you think first of all? Let's talk about it for a
I guess it
bit.
makes sense to go chronological.
Always.
I'm dropping in some big words. Big words tonight.
It's very good. You're going to stumble. You're going to fall.
I will.
I'm too low.
Pretty boring.
Moved myself up
pretty boring game, wasn't it? Really? Did you watch that one?
Yes.
Oh yes, of course. Of course.
Never miss one.
Of course, I watched it. It's hard to think about it now because obviously we've had the game last night at Deepdale, so I thought we could have won, but I thought we easily could have lost.
Yeah, that's exactly.
As well. Obviously, we had a good first 10 minutes, I thought, and then for some reason we just started paying them all kinds of respect, and I'm not sure why we were doing that. And then at the start of the second half, I do not know how we didn't concede. Yeah. Obviously, we've got away with one from Jota, putting the ball over the roof when he threw on goal. They had a couple go across the goal as well that I thought we were quite fortunate to get away with. But then we've ended the game well and hit the bar twice. I think Terry's header that went just wide was a very good chance.
Yeah, well, I said on this podcast, didn't I, a week before, who would you like to come up and score the winner? John Terry has that opportunity, and you think, and I kind of, you look at the replays and you think, did he nudge it a little bit wider? I don't think there was quite enough on it for him to really have made a difference. But
I don't think it would have gone straight in.
No,
is that what you're saying?
That's kind of what I was alluding to. Yeah, it was a tough one. Well, it wasn't a tough one. It felt like both teams had kind of set out their stall not to lose that game. I didn't, like you said there, I think a draw was probably the fair result. Birmingham had their chances. That Isaac Vassell chance as well, which Johnston rocketed into him. That could have gone in. And, you know, an earlier goal could have completely changed the flow of the game. But
I think for the first 60 minutes or so, after that initial 10-minute spell that we had, I think it turned into... It isn't going to make sense what I'm saying, probably. It makes sense in my head, which is good for a podcast.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a football match. We let it turn into a bit of a battle and a fight. And at that point, I don't think we had the necessary personnel to deal with a fight. And I think that's why Birmingham were on top. But then, actually, when we brought Jedinak and Davis on, who were the more physical players, we were better set up for a fight. And we managed to muscle our way back in and turn it more into a football match. If that makes sense as well, with our better footballers.
Yeah, it does make sense. I think it's really interesting, actually. We'll come on to the Preston game very, very soon. But I was reading Greg Evans' write-up of the Preston game, and he said he's seen such a difference in this Villa side from the Villa that played against Preston compared to 12, 18 months ago. And but the difference was the ability to fight. And you're right, we've got it's not just a mental thing, but it's also a strength thing. And you do bring on those strong players. You've got Whelan, you've obviously got Jedinak, and you bring on players like Davis who can muscle a defence. And you are then ready for this battle, and it was always going to be. I felt like Cotterill was never going to set up to go attacking. You know,
I think that's a bit harsh on them. I think they actually had a good go.
Yeah, okay, maybe, but they're down the bottom of it's much more important for them not to lose.
Yeah.
Than to win necessarily. They didn't want to win. I mean, St Andrews was undersold. I mean, it's their best crowd of the season, but still not selling out on Derby Day is an indictment. You know, I just felt a bit. I didn't think that they. What I'm trying to say is, I think we could have gone at them from the start, and maybe we would have had more joy.
Yeah, but we got a bit penned in, and as I say, I think it turned into a battle and a scrap, and we didn't maybe have, other than Whelan, the right personnel for that scrap. Although I did think Hourihane got stuck in well and showed a bit of a dirtier side to his game that I quite enjoy, because I don't feel I've seen that before. I think the main thing that came out of the game is, I mean, I think if you offer Blues a 0-0 before the game, they take it and they're happy with that. If you offer Villa a 0-0 before the game, we're not happy with it, and they're probably the happier with the result because they haven't lost.
Yeah,
obviously that's 12 now, unbeaten in league games against Birmingham City. So it's nice to keep that going, although it wasn't a classic. But the most important thing was, after the 0-0 in a derby game, we needed to win the next game, and we got a few days later we've managed to do that. So 4 points from 2 away games, 2 clean sheets. I don't think you can knock that, really.
That was seamless, wasn't it? Moving into the Preston game, a 2-0 win at Deepdale, a great away victory. I didn't see it. I saw the highlights today. I got to admit that, because you called me out on my date night.
Well, you called yourself out.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Leaving your calendar on show.
That's true. Well, let's talk about it then. I've seen rave reviews on Twitter. It looked a great performance from the highlights. Lots of people very happy with the Villa that they saw last night.
I thought it was a comfortable win. I mean, in the second half, as happens when a team's 2-0 down, Preston turned the screw a little bit and put a bit more pressure on. And I was texting Dan Rolinson through the game, our new presenter, and he was worried, saying, I can see what's going to happen here, we're going to concede. And I said to him, I'm not worried, I think we look solid, I do not see us conceding. And that's what happened. We looked so comfortable at the back last night. And when you've got someone like Jedinak who you can bring on to shore things up and see a game out, on top of Whelan, who's a good defensive player, and that back four that we've got that's performing so well, and a goalkeeper that's on top of his game, you're going to see out games. I mean, you look at when we played Preston, I think it was January or February. I think it was January, actually, earlier on in the year in the league at Villa Park. We're 2-0 up. We chucked the game away. Yeah. We let them back in. Yeah. I never saw that was going to happen last night. I know they've got a lot of injuries, Preston, so obviously we've had it easier going at them defensively, because they've got a lot of personnel missing. But I just thought it was a complete performance. We looked like we'd score every time we went forward. We were actually a bit wasteful. Yeah. After going 2-0 up. But the big thing for me now is John Terry is absolutely immaculate. He's one of the best footballers I've seen play for Aston Villa. And I know it's at championship level and that's a big thing to say, but he's so good. There is not a better defender than him in the championship, and James Chester actually runs him close. Well,
I wanted to get on to... We'll get on to Villa's defence in a minute, but I wanted to talk a bit about Preston, because you mentioned it there, or you alluded to it. They were missing 6 to start with. They lost 2 more on the night. Should we... I mean, there was a question on Twitter from Zebra, I think it was. Should we not put them to the sword a little bit more? You know, they're in a relegation scrap. They're not a particularly...
Preston, they're up with us. They were up with us before the game. They were 9th.
I don't know about
or
that.
10th, they were.
They'll be down there. I don't see them being...
They'll be closer to the top than the bottom.
Well, we'll see. We'll see come to the end of the season. I thought I read that they were down the bottom. I need to get the championship. Well, I do that. Yeah. I do that.
You see what you want to see, Tom.
You know. But I think we should... Or should we have, is more the right phrasing, should we have taken those chances? Should we be kicking on? And should we be talking about a 4 or 5-0 win?
I don't think we can have any complaints when Aston Villa are going away from home and winning 2-0 and it being comfortable, because rewind a year, we couldn't do anything away from home. So I don't think we're in a position to criticise anything. Okay, we could have had more goals, but when you're 2-0 up, players naturally relax a little bit more, maybe aren't quite as switched on, to maybe try a shot in a way that they wouldn't try if it was 0-0. So, as I say, I think we were comfortable. I don't think we can have any complaints, because I didn't ever think we'd concede, and I thought we'd end up scoring more goals. 2-0 was enough. So as long as it's enough, I don't think we should care.
Yeah. Alan Hutton was the choice at left back again, even though Neil Taylor was back and available. And what did you make of his performance?
I mean, he's incredible. I've criticised him a lot over the last 18 months, although obviously I've turned it since the apology earlier on in the year. But he's incredible because every time you think he's done, he comes back in. So El Mohammedi's done very well at right back, so you'd think he was done, Alan Hutton. He's not going to come in at right back because El Mohammed is a Bruce favourite. Then he comes in at left back and does well. So you can't knock him. I thought he might end up scoring last night, actually. He was bombing forward. He was heavily involved in attacks when Preston were pushing up and we were on the break. I thought he might end up with a long overdue goal. Yeah,
and even very early on, he showed a bit of poise at the back, then brought it out, laid it down to Adoma on the left wing there, and we nearly had a goal very, very early on as well. So, yeah, he's shown that kind of composure that we've seen from well, maybe we haven't seen from him before. Do you think that's an age thing, and playing with Terry and playing with Chester, playing in a settled back four?
I think maybe at left back he has to concentrate a bit more than he would at right back, because obviously he's at the tail end of his career. He can probably play an autopilot right back, but at left back he probably can't. I know it sounds a bit stupid because it's the same position essentially, it's full back, but he'll have to concentrate more on the left hand side. And when you've got John Terry at left centre back, he won't stand for you standing in the wrong place or you not picking up your man and whatnot, and John Terry will organise you. I think that probably helps Alan Hutton, having an organiser next to him.
Alan Hutton's played in some very good defences before. He's no mug. He's been around Champions League teams, and now he's got a Champions League calibre centre back right next to him. As you say, James Chester's playing in the form of his life as well. That's got to help him. Where do you see Neil Taylor getting back into this side? Is it Hutton's to lose now?
For the next few weeks, I'd say it is, but Taylor will get back in. Mm-hmm. Taylor is our number one left back. There isn't another natural left back at the club, and while Alan Hutton's done well, at some point he will come out for Neil Taylor. Mm-hmm. And maybe Al Mohammedi might move further forward for some games. Maybe Al Mohammedi might come out for that game. The important thing is that you need a squad. I mean, we had players missing last night, but we still had a strong first team. I thought the bench was a bit questionable with the amount of defenders, but I think because people have played in the under-23s a few days earlier, he didn't want to involve them, and he's already said Grealish will be involved in the 18 at the weekend, which is good news, because I think we lacked a bit of attacking impetus from the bench had the game been going wrong, and I think that was something that maybe cost us against Birmingham, because I think if Codger had stayed on, I think we would have gone on and won that game because we were causing them problems on the break. But I think he ended up bringing Hogan on left midfield, which doesn't suit him at all. Had he had a Grealish to bring on for the last 10 minutes, I actually think we might have gone on and won that game.
Right.
But he obviously had Hogan playing out of position. It's not Hogan's fault, it's not his position, but then I suppose we're talking about Alan Hutton playing out of position and playing well, so maybe footballers should be able to play.
Well, you think that. You mentioned the under-23s there. We had Callum O'Hare scored a hat-trick in the Villa under-23s 6-0 drubbing over Newcastle. Can he be a little bit disappointed that he wasn't on the bench?
I think on Sunday you probably would be disappointed.
Yeah.
But I think on Wednesday's game against Preston, if you played a few days earlier, you're probably not gonna be in the 18. He's certainly knocking on the door. I think Grealish is coming back at the wrong time for him, because he's obviously thriving in the under-23s. He's clearly too good for the under-23s, but I'm not sure he's quite ready to be starting games, maybe. But I suppose you never know until you're thrown in.
Yeah, exactly. He's played well in the Carabao Cup games that he got. It'd be nice to see him over the next maybe in the busy period just before and around Christmas. Hopefully we'll see him a little bit more come into the mix.
Yeah, I think he would have probably been worth a place on the bench on Sunday over Bjarnason, because if you're not bringing on Bjarnason when Codger goes off injured in left midfield, then when's he ever going to play? So it would have been maybe nice to see O'Hare on the bench Sunday, and I think Grealish probably could have handled being on the bench as well. Like we say, you don't know until you chuck him in, but the one thing I will say is we played Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup, who are obviously a championship side, and admittedly it was a dismal performance, a terrible game. He didn't really do anything in that game against a stronger opposition, like the teams we were playing before were in the leagues below. So maybe Bruce doesn't quite trust him for the first team yet, but he'll be involved this season. I'd have thought he'll be involved in the 18 before the end of the season and coming off the bench a few times in the league.
Yeah, fair enough. I wanted to get your opinion before we move on a couple of the questionable decisions from last night. You had the James Chester penalty shout.
Penal day.
Penal day?
Yeah, but I think because the way the ball moved,
Yeah, it did look.
we got away with it. 'Cause
Yeah.
It looked like he got the ball because of the direction the ball travelled in.
Yeah.
But that was a penalty.
Yeah,
Sure.
I would have thought the same. Well, I did think the same, but I obviously didn't see as many angles as maybe you
We
did.
saw lots on the TV.
Did you?
Yeah, they replayed it a lot.
And the other one was Davis's stray arm when he went up for the header there. There was he got booked, which is always interesting when something happens like that, and you think the referee's maybe just appeasing the crowd a little bit with a booking. You either did lead with the arm or you didn't.
I think it was an accident.
Yeah.
He didn't look at the man, as the commentator said at the time. He just was using it for leverage, and he's hit the guy in the face. Don't think it was malicious. On another day, if you get a more stringent ref, you might get the red card, but yellow card was the right decision.
Yeah.
I thought. And then Bruce did the right thing taking him off, actually, because I think they were going to try and wind him up and get him sent off, try and ruffle him a bit. So I think it was the right decision to bring him off when he did.
Fair enough. What do you make now of the starting forward line? Where do we go now? Because Kodja, at time of recording, we're not quite sure whether he's going to be fit or not. Does he deserve to be in the mix anyway? You know, has Davis earned his spurs to play against Sheffield Wednesday?
I think I'd start Davis on Saturday and have Kodja on the bench if he is fit. But Kodja is on his day when he's fully fit, and I don't think he's up to speed yet, match fitness wise still, because I think he didn't have a pre-season. He's our best player. He's our 20-goal a season man. As good as Kiernan Davis is, if you played him for the whole season, he wouldn't score 20 goals because he's not a prolific goal scorer.
Yep.
He's scored 2 goals so far, which is a semi-decent return. But Kiernan Davis is the kind of player that makes players around him.
Should have had another one
Better.
last night, shouldn't he? Early doors.
I can't remember. The one, a good save.
Good
save.
kind
It
of
was
at the
straight at him.
keeper,
Yeah. I think Kodja's getting a lot of unfair criticism. And I've thought of an equal scenario that happened a few years ago. So we had the first season under Lambert where Benteke basically kept us up, and then he got an injury, and he came back and he wasn't the same player, and the fans were having a go at him, saying we shouldn't play him, we're better without him. And then at the end of the season, he's obviously kept us up again. Kodja scored nearly 20 goals last season. He was the only one scoring goals. The thing is now, we've got people in the team who we're chipping in with goals from all over the place now, which is good. Obviously, our defenders have started chipping with goals now. Chester and Terry scoring 2 in the last 3 games between them. So if we can get Kodja back to last season's form, and with the players now chipping in with goals all round, we're really onto something. And you need different players for different games. People saying, well, some games you might not play Davis, some games you might not play Kodja, some games you play them together, some games Kodja will be on the wing. Like, you need different players and different systems for different teams. So I think Kodja's getting a lot of disrespect at the moment. I don't think he's deserved just because he hasn't scored from open play yet. His game was getting better against Fulham and Blues, I thought.
Yeah.
He looked livelier, not at his best level by any stretch of the imagination, but he was getting close to the level he was at last season, I thought.
Yeah, does it go back a little bit to what you've talked about before, where there has to be a scapegoat all of the time? You know, that if it's not one player, it's another. If it's not Whelan, it's Kodja. You know, Whelan has a good game last night, and then it moves straight on to somebody else. Can we, as fans, just not enjoy the fact that actually the whole team seems to be clicking a little bit, and we're on this great unbeaten run, and we're 5th?
As for football fans in the main, there always has to be something wrong, and like you say, we do always seem to have a scapegoat. And Whelan's been very, very good in the last 2 games, and people have started to pick up on that a little bit now. But for me, he's been doing a lot of those things all season, and it has just gone unnoticed.
Yep.
I don't know whether it's because these 2 games were on the telly, whereas not all of them. Actually, it does seem like we're on the telly a lot. Maybe more people are starting to see it, and maybe when you're actually at the game, sometimes you don't notice things that you notice on TV, and vice versa. But I don't think Wheeler's doing a hell of a lot different to what he's been doing all season. I just think he's got the plaudits the last couple of games because he's perhaps made a few more critical blocks.
Right.
But yeah, we don't need to have a scapegoat. And to make your top scorer from last season, when no one else was scoring, your scapegoat, that's not. And he deserves a bit more respect than that for me.
Let's move from centre forward to centre back and our goalkeeper. We got a tweet earlier. Apologies, I can't remember who it was from, but a little stat attack that Sam Johnston has more clean sheets in 2017 than any other Championship goalkeeper. We've praised him a lot on this show, and it really feels like that kind of central 3 of Johnston, Chester and Terry have just come into their own now, and we're really seeing the value of John Terry and what a player he is, you know, and an elder statesman of this team, but he's still barking the orders, he's still leading by example, and it's just great to see.
I felt like Terry was a bit shy when he first came in.
Yeah.
I didn't feel he was doing all the stuff that he's doing now. At the start, I felt like he was trying not to make too much of a fuss, maybe, trying to ease his way in. But now, he's doing everything that I thought he would, and he's absolutely unbelievable. He's such a good defender, such a good player, and such a good character. As well. I mean, Chester was very good last season anyway, but he's made a huge difference to Johnston, I think.
If you put that into an everyday example, that's like going into a new job, isn't it? Where you probably, maybe you know what the job is and you know how to do it a little bit, but you need to work out other people's personalities. Yeah. You need to just bed yourself in, and obviously he came in, was made captain off Chester. I know Chester said that that's not a problem, anything like that.
Consulted.
But still, there's still a little bit of, if you don't know Chester that well, you just need to kind of make sure everything's okay. And now he's coming into his own. But it's more even the extra things he does. I know he does yoga. Can't remember if it's Bikram yoga or regular yoga.
Good yoga knowledge.
Well,
there with your pie knowledge there.
Bikram yoga and pies are my specialist subject. But even that kind of stuff, he's bringing that to the training ground, and that's a massive example for not just our young players, but the whole team, and that's going to last us right through till May.
He is incredible. He's a modern day, not superstar, it's not quite what word I'm looking for. He's a modern day football great. Mm-hmm. John Terry, there's been few better defenders than him in the game for the last 15 to 20 years, and we're very, very lucky to have him. And if we do end up going up, he will have played a massive part on and off the pitch. Mm-hmm. But I was saying last night on Twitter, I think Bruce gets criticism. He's not as progressive as some people would like, but the last 12 games to have only lost once after the start we had, he's steadied the ship, and he's turned around the ship for me. And there's a few, like Terry and Snodgrass, for example. We wouldn't have either of them if Steve Bruce wasn't our manager. They would not have come to the club. As big a pull as Aston Villa is, I don't think either of them would have come to Villa if it wasn't for Steve Bruce.
I think John Terry could have got probably a Premier League job.
Well, he didn't want to play in the Premier League, did he?
Yeah,
I think Terry might have knocked it on the head because he wouldn't. Another manager might not have gone in for Terry, because you looked at Villa's centre backs, Baker and Chester, and it wasn't a lot wrong. I didn't think there was a lot wrong. I like Baker, and I still would like to have him here as a third choice. But obviously he wanted to play. But another manager would have looked at that and said, "We're fine." But just the extra stuff Terry can bring, and it's a bit more short term than having Nathan Baker. But the short term is get us out the Championship. Yep. And as I say, John Terry will be a huge part of that if we manage to do that.
And I think his professionalism off the pitch at the training ground will have a lasting impact on some of our younger players, and that will hopefully breed this kind of a new philosophy at Villa, and that's really, really important. Let's talk a little bit about the October games where we won, drew 1, lost 1, 4 points in total. I think you went for 5 points. I went for 7, so I went a little bit optimistic. We'll do it again.
Nice feature, isn't it, this one?
Yeah,
I like this one.
I think maybe Dan Rolinson gets a little graphic for this.
Not for the podcast.
Step it up a bit.
Not for the podcast.
Step it up. Come on. I'm pushing the boundaries here. Right. Okay. I've got the fixtures in front of me. Obviously,
we've already played a game. So
we've already had one. Yeah. It's not the end of the world.
I'm just saying.
Well, you can have that one for free. You got 3 points there.
I predicted a draw.
Did you?
Yeah, in the match preview. I'm always wrong though in the match preview. That's part of the reason why I do it.
I predicted a 2-0 win, so I'm.
Did you?
No. But I will take it. All right, let's go. Saturday the 4th of November, Aston Villa v Sheffield Wednesday. I'm going to write them down.
Beat them last season. They're not on the best of runs at the moment. The manager's under a little bit of pressure. We're flying. Yeah, win.
Win. Tom also goes for a win. Saturday 18th of November, Queen's Park Rangers v Aston Villa. A game that you and I will both be at.
We will both be there thanks to the late ticket surge that we had today. We'll come on to that later, the family field trip that's going on for that game. We won there last season. My away record's abhorrent. Another good word. And
great word.
And we won, and I went last season, so I'm going to go. But they've beat some good teams recently. They've not been great, QPR, but they've suddenly shot up the table. They've beat Wolves, and they beat someone else as well. At home, the last 2 home games, they beat 2 good teams. Then they beat Sheffield United.
That Wolves result was a brilliant result. Actually, not a bad result for us either.
Yeah, so Holloway doesn't like us either, really. I think he'd like to get one over us. I don't know, I'm just a bit torn with that one. I'll go for draw.
Okay.
But that's a reluctant draw.
Okay, Dan goes for a draw. I was going to go for a draw, but I don't want to keep them all the same.
You can, if that's your opinion, you don't have to change it just because I've said something.
Oh, you're a very intimidating guy.
You can have the same opinion.
Yeah,
Matter.
okay, I think I am going to go for a draw. I don't see us winning that. So it's a tough place to go. Like you say,
At the moment.
they're a good side.
Before the last two games, I would have said win, probably. They're obviously one of those teams that struggle to get themselves up for some games, but then their big team doing well rocks up and they want to spoil the party, so that's a problem.
All right, next game, Tuesday, the 21st of November. It's a 7:45 kickoff at home to Sunderland.
3 points win, but it's typical. They're in free fall, they're garbage, and I feel like this kind of thing happens a lot to Villa. They'll have a new manager in by then, so they might get a new manager bounce.
Who are they going to get?
Only a lunatic would take that job.
Carlo Ancelotti.
Oh, yeah. I can't think... I mean, Peter Reid's one of the favourites at the moment, isn't he? Which is telling you how not in demand that job is.
Oh, that's ugly. That is terrible.
I think even rent-a-gob Dwight York could think twice about this one.
Do you think Sherwood would take it?
He always says about a club that matches my ambitions, that matches the way I see football should be played. I don't think he'd take it.
Interesting.
I'm not sure he'll ever get a job again.
Well, that's what I mean. You know, he needs to open his search parameters if he wants the job.
I just think it's a dangerous job to take.
Totally.
Last year when Moyes took it, I think he had an opportunity of the Celtic job, Moyes. I was surprised he went to Sunderland because he had a bad time at Man U and a bad time at Sociedad. So I thought he needed to take a safe job, and that job is not a safe job, and that's what a lot of managers will be thinking. I think one of the caretakers might end up getting it, just because I don't think anyone will fancy it.
Fair.
It's worth a flutter on one of the Billy McKinley, I'd say.
Fair enough. And the last game in November, Saturday 25th, Aston Villa v Ipswich. 3 home games this month.
We lost to them last season, but I'm going to go win again.
Okay. I'm
in danger of sounding like Chris Dolan here, but...
You really are. I'm going to go draw with that one. So win for you. T is a draw.
There's been 2 games recently in the last week, or not the last week, the last few weeks, that have made me think we get the Championship now. Fulham at home. I didn't see us winning that game, and the way the game was, it was a hard game, but we managed to grind out the win and get the victory. And last night away at Preston, I just feel like we've finally got the hang of the Championship now. We know what it's about. And this is something else I said last night on Twitter. If you rewind to when we got relegated, it was so demoralising going and watching players that visibly didn't care, that were visibly taking the mick. And whatever happens now this season, you can see these players, they genuinely care, they genuinely have a hunger to play for Aston Villa. There was bodies on the line last night, John Terry, Chester, Whelan, Yednat when he comes on. I think we've got the right mix of players now as well. It's just players that want to be there, players that want to do well, players that want to get this fallen giant back in the Premier League. And it's players now that get the league. And I think a manager that gets Aston Villa a bit more now. He's not as negative now as some people make out. I just think we've got the right mix now, and I'm really, really confident now this season that we'll at least get top 6.
Yeah, do you think at the start it was a case of maybe just really trying to steady the ship, be negative, be solid, get a foundation, and now he's got the players, he's worked out, he's got some young players in there, he's got Snodgrass whom he trusts, you know, Adoma's in great form, and now he's got the opportunity to be a bit more free-flowing.
Well, he said that himself, that when he came in, he needed to steady the ship and make them harder to beat, which he did do initially. I was thinking about this the other day. I think some of the stuff he said about the remit was to avoid relegation is baloney.
Yeah.
But I think we were so bad. We were looking so bad when he came in, and we were looking in trouble. We were Sunderland, basically. Mm-hmm. Sunderland of this season, last season. I think he almost did too good a job when he first came in, because we started to get results. So I think he set himself up for a fall. Because we then had a terrible run, and then that seemed to scare him a bit, and then we went too far defensively. We were literally just trying to grind out games, and perhaps we started the season a bit in that manner as well. We lost 2 games where we didn't really have a go away from home at the start of the season, but I think he got off to too good a start, Bruce, when he came in, so expectation levels were raised. Yeah, well,
I think the expectation levels were there. Whatever. I don't think he set himself up for the fall. I think Villa fans have an expectation that we should have been at that level. Obviously, we then pushed for the playoff places, didn't quite make it, and then when you start off so badly again, it's easy to forget now, but that was so bad.
Oh, I had question marks in my head. I was close to turning.
I remember being in this studio, and we were talking about it on air and off air, and we were just like, "What do we do?" Because this is an ugly place to be in.
I remember getting a lot of social media stick for not actually coming out and saying that I think Bruce should go, and I was getting close to feeling that, to be honest. But I just felt still he deserved a little bit more time. And I think now the patience that the board have obviously shown they're reaping that now.
It's important for a football club. I think it's to remember stability is really, really important, especially. I mean, this season is so important in terms of financial fair play. You know, we've got a few of these old guard who are Bruce's men. Terry, you could put him in that bracket as well. Steve Bruce is quite important to this process, to this season. And, you know, if it doesn't happen, then it will be catastrophic this year. But he definitely has earned his chance to make it happen.
I still think automatics is going to be really, really tough. If we pick up the results that we've predicted in November, then we're set for a good go at autos, because the teams up above us at the moment will lose games in November. So if we pull out those results, we'll be in a good position. November's a big. I know we say it every month. November's a big month because you're then coming towards Christmas, where anything can happen: injuries, fixture congestion. You got the tired legs out there. The games come thick and fast. So anything can happen over Christmas. November's massive. If we have a good November to go with our good October and good September, then we're on the right track to challenge for autos. I still think we might just end up falling short because I don't think Wolves and Cardiff are going anywhere in the top two.
We'll see. We've seen them both lose. Obviously, Cardiff lost to Birmingham and Wolves lost to QPR. So there are slip-ups to be had, and Villa have to take charge of that. So, Dan, you've gone for 10 points. If you include the win last night, that's 13 out of 15 for November. I have gone for 8 points, add the win, which is 11. Yeah, win, which is 6, draw.
Draw Ipswich.
Yeah, I think they're a tough side to beat. Did you see excuse me, Mick McCarthy's press conference?
He's a madman.
He's crazy,
does not
isn't
care,
he?
does he?
No.
He does not care what the Ipswich fans think.
And I kind of like that. I'm not sure I'd like it if he was our manager, but it's fun to watch from the side. But he sets a good team out. They were top of the league at the start of the season for a little bit as well. So they're going to be a tough side.
The man is a lunatic.
They have to come to Villa Park as well, which shouldn't be underestimated. That Villa Park is a tough place to play.
It's a fortress.
So we shall see. Do you want to move on to some news, or you got anything else that you want to lay on us?
Nah, go for news for now. I've got a few bits and pieces. Let me just check that I said everything I wanted to say.
Okay.
About the Preston game. Yeah, I've said it. We're very, very professional tonight, both sitting here with our laptops out.
Feels weird, doesn't it?
It does. It doesn't look right.
No.
Especially with me.
Let's talk a little bit about Tim Sherwood. Always fun. We've mentioned him already on this show tonight. He was on the Sky Sports debate show. Did you see this?
Yeah, I did. I recorded it and watched it specifically because he was on there.
Yeah, so he said Villa got what they deserved when it came to relegation. I'll read his quote here. Aston Villa is a great club with fantastic fan base. He said that before. It turned out really well in the first season. I took them to a cup final and got them safe. I thought I was very strong, but the hierarchy had other ideas. They had a scouting network of young students, that's a shot, isn't it, who had been looking at screens, crunching numbers and learning the game from that. They were telling me which players to bring in. Don't forget, we lost Benteke, who was the only goal scorer, Fabian Delph, and Cleverley and Vlar, the core of the side. I was given a group of young foreign lads, and it was going to take them time. And after 9 games, I was relieved of my duties. They had 3 managers after me and were relegated.
Tim Sherwood's autobiography.
Sorry, yeah, I haven't got this down. Unfortunately, they got what they deserved. It was poor management from upwards. What do you think of that? The whole thing.
I think he had to go at the time.
Yeah.
I think he did very well when he first came in, got us to the cup final, did well, had good players, which helped. I think Lambert wasn't getting the best out of the good players that we had there, the ones he's mentioned, Benteke, Cleverley, Delph, and then he brought Grealish in as well to add into the mix. Vlar was there. Kieran Clark was having a very good season, so I think he inherited a good bunch of players that were underperforming.
Yep.
I think he got the boot at the right time. I get what he's saying about the transfer policy. Obviously, losing all those players was any team would struggle to come back from losing the core 4 from their side. But the players he brought in were the ones that were the problem. the players that were brought in by the students, the Garners, the Veritus. I can't think of anyone else who was
Garner's
there.
a good player.
Yeah, Garner's gone on and been a good player somewhere else in
Yeah.
the Premier League. So
Amavi?
Amavi was a good player. Obviously ended up getting injured. Tim Sherwood brought in Mika Richards, Julian Lescott, Rudy Gusted, and none of them really did anything.
And they are Sherwood signings, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's no way that these students are picking out Micah Richards and going, yeah, the numbers suggest that this makes sense.
I don't think Richards was... I think he didn't have a great season because obviously no one did. I think he would deserve to be lumped in with Lescott that season. Lescott was an absolute disgrace.
Yeah.
And probably my most hated figure at Aston Villa Football Club ever. Closely followed by Eric Black. I didn't like him either.
Anyone else?
No, there's been a few over the years, obviously, but Tim Sherwood, I don't think he can have any complaints with getting the sack. I'll always remember him fondly because for a short time it was quite fun to be a Villa fan again, and there's not been much fun as a Villa fan. And I remember him now for this. I don't know why I've remembered this. I went to QPR last season with my dad, and Tim Sherwood was getting a hero's reception doing the punditry like he was the best thing
Really?
that ever happened. I mean, at the end of the day, he was involved in us going down. And Tim Sherwood was like looking at the Villa fans, and my dad did this really weird wave at him, like he knew him, and that Tim Sherwood could see him. And I just remembered that. It popped into my head. It was a bizarre moment.
Oh, we'll have to get
It
Dave.
was at that moment I thought my dad's lost it.
We'll have to get Dave's opinion on that one. Sherwood won 10 of his 28 games in charge. Not a great record, is it? I always felt he looked a little bit ill, and he was always...
Most Villa managers end up looking ill, to be fair, by
Paul
the time
Lambert
they leave.
looked the worst, and then he came back a couple of months later
Fresh.
as a Sky Sports pundit. He'd had a haircut, he'd had a beard shave,
Yeah.
he'd lost weight.
I mean, let's face it, Bruce had been on a pretty good diet
Yeah,
when he
true.
came into Villa, and he doesn't look like he did when he took over now.
There's a Ross McCormack update.
Oh, I got a bit of stick, which was
You did.
quite fair, actually,
Well,
looking back.
Ross McCormack's piling it on. as
Scored
well.
again,
He
didn't he?
scored twice, a penalty and a free kick, and Melbourne continued their unbeaten run against Adelaide United. Final score 2-0.
I'd like to apologise for my comments I made last week that offended a Villa fan. I don't know if he is Australian or is he based in Australia, so I apologise for that. It was a bit naive of me to say the league is rubbish, because he's right, I haven't watched it. I just can't imagine it being that great.
When I was a student, I used to watch it on my little corner of Bet365 because I'd have a wager on the game every now and again.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't great.
No.
But I don't know what you'd equate it to, whether it's the Scottish Premier League or whatever. So
The Scottish Premier League, now that is garbage.
well, we'll stop speculating on how good
I
the
need to stop saying
Australian league
leagues are
is.
garbage. I don't
Yeah.
don't want to offend people.
Thoughts on the K-League? Or the
I don't-
J-League?
Which one's that?
Korean and Japanese?
No.
They used to be all the rage back in the day.
Not now.
No.
Japan's obviously got a lot of affluence.
Well, it's
nowadays.
China, isn't it? China's the one.
God, that shows you how good my knowledge is.
Christmas is coming, which means one thing for football fans. January transfer window is around
It's
the
too
corner.
early, Tom.
Well,
It's too early to talk
it's
about it.
not too early
It's
for the
too early.
papers to start speculating, and
No, I can see what you've got on your
the
screen here.
rumour mill is turning down.
What a load of rubbish.
You think it's out of the question?
Carrick?
Michael Carrick. It's been
Absolutely
linked
no. We
with
don't even
Villa.
need him.
You don't think?
No.
Okay.
We're going to play Carrick, Yedinak and Whelan
What
over
a
the
midfield.
oldest midfield in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't need him.
You don't need it. You wouldn't have him.
He's been one of those that I've never thought was that good a player.
You've said exactly the opposite, I'm sure, on this
I
podcast.
haven't. I think I've used him as an example of a position.
And you don't rate him.
My
as a
problem
player.
is, I think, with him, is that I've always thought Gareth Barry was the better player.
Right.
I know similar players, and I've never felt Gareth Barry got the praise he deserved.
Right.
So from that, I've just took that Carrick shouldn't get any praise.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Carrick went to Man U and became that guy, but then Barry went to Man City and then got that.
I'd say Barry's got more to his game, or had more to his game.
I think Carrick's a very good player, and I think you are underrating his ability. I agree that we don't need him, but I'm just pointing it out that the transfer cogs are starting to turn.
Too early. It's like you wouldn't talk about. You wouldn't put Christmas decorations up now, would you?
No, but I know
And that's before the January transfer window.
I know people that are starting to listen to Christmas music.
Who? Name and shame.
It's a couple of girls that won't listen and don't care.
Still deserve a name and shame.
Well, I do you know once this is a really random tangent that has come to be a staple of mine. Do you remember when you could link your Spotify account to your Facebook account?
I've never had Spotify.
Oh, it's great.
I'm an Apple Music guy.
Right, fair enough.
There
Well,
are other music appliances, applications.
it's all gone wrong for
available.
you on the words.
No, that's fine.
And this girl in question had obviously linked it, and it was July, and she was listening to like Christmas is Coming 2010 or whatever, greatest hits.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
She's got to get out of town.
Yeah, I told her. Okay, but we are going to talk about our summer transfer business next week, aren't we?
Are we?
I thought we were going to...
Oh, yeah, we're going to do a little extra video.
Yeah.
Little extra video, filling the void.
You know, just previewing what's going on at the Villa View right now.
Little filler, just we're going to go through and review our summer business, each player one by one now, and see how well we think they've done. Maybe give them a pie rating, just to fit in with the Tom Julian theme.
Seems fair. I don't mind that. You got any more news for us?
I don't think so. I've got a mention to give on behalf of big Villa fan, radio and TV celebrity Johnny Gold. Top man Johnny Gold, following me on Twitter if you don't already. So he's involved in a book called, I think it's called The Adventures of Striker Boy. It's certainly called Striker Boy, which is trying to raise awareness around mental health, and it's using football as the platform to raise awareness. And this book's actually raising money for the charity Mind. So it's in the memory of Johnny Gold's friend Johnny Zucker, who lived with mental health issues for over 20 years and is unfortunately no longer with us. So Johnny Zucker dedicated his whole life to getting kids reading and worked for many years as a primary school teacher before becoming an author. So Striker Boy was his favourite and most popular story. So this special not-for-profit edition is being published in his memory to raise awareness around mental health, which is, I think, is a fantastic cause. So fair play to Johnny Gold have been involved in that. So if you go onto strikerboy.com and take a look, you can actually buy the book. But yeah, wanted to raise awareness around that and give that a shout out because I think it's a worthy cause. There's
one for your Christmas stockings. Absolutely worthy cause, and anybody should. Oh, mental health. I mean, this isn't the mental health podcast, but if you are struggling with something like that, then you should be talking about it. It's important.
And for anyone who has ever belittled mental health, going to be serious here.
Yeah.
I implore them to read. You know Robert Enke, the German goalkeeper.
Love that book.
Have you read it? Well, I loves it. It's harrowing.
Well, yeah, fair enough. I don't love that book, but it's an absolutely excellent insight into what professional footballers, some professional footballers, and
people in life,
have to deal with.
I've got to say, that book really opened my eyes.
Yeah.
So there's probably footballers playing now that are struggling with it. Obviously, Aaron Lennon came out this year and said that he was struggling with it as well. So yeah, it's a really, really important topic. So it'd be good to raise some awareness around that issue.
Yeah, the author Ronald Breng is an excellent journalist. So well worth reading if you've got the time.
Yep. Should we move on to questions?
Yes. Well, I've got comments.
Have you?
I don't have questions. I don't think.
I think I've got questions but not comments. That's NFL talk, Tom. That's not going to do the job for you.
You always call me out on things. It's very harsh.
I mean, that's the kind of character I am, Tom.
Yeah, it seems unfair.
It's just I'll get them up because you're flailing. Dan Rolinson actually didn't send us the comments from the YouTube videos this week.
So he's some sort of private chat.
No, he hasn't sent anything. So I don't know if you've been watching the Villa View's normal videos outside of the podcast. If you have, you will notice that the man behind the camera, Dan Rolinson, has stepped forward to be in front of the camera recently. He's done a sturdy job for his first go at presenting, I'd say. I don't know whether you've watched it.
I have, yeah.
What do you think?
I thought it was good. It's nice to...
It's a bit weird seeing him, isn't it?
It is a bit, yeah, because usually he's the one pointing the camera at you.
Yeah.
But nice to see him, and good luck.
I've just thought of some news. That new white shirt, the Villa third shirt that was kind of unveiled or leaked today. I like the look of that shirt. That'll be on my Christmas list.
Will it?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Do you still ask for Christmas shirts, do you?
I don't usually, but right. I think I'll make the exception if this is coming out. But we don't actually know whether it is coming out yet because it hasn't been announced. I did try and do some sneaky...
You can never play in it, though.
Well, come on to that. You're wearing white now.
I'm not going to play football in this.
I did send us some sneaky texts to sources at Villa to try and find out if it was being released, but I have been so far ignored.
Oh, right.
So I was hoping to have an exclusive, but no cigar.
Big time Dan Bardell is...
well, obviously not big time Dan Bardell, is it?
Pied.
Yeah. Right, let's move on to the questions now. I just want to go back. Tom actually is obviously carrying some resentment around white shirts because his mother didn't let him wear or buy white football shirts when he was younger. So you don't seem as pleased with that shirt as I thought you would be.
You
can buy one now, Tom. You're an adult. If you want a white football shirt, you can wear one.
Thank you, Dan. If you're new to the Villa View podcast, this is an age-old story where I shared that my when I was a kid, I wouldn't get white football shirts or England football shirts or things like that. The white ones anyway, because they're a nightmare to clean. You go out to the park and
your mum has instilled some serious discipline on white shirts.
I totally agree with her.
No,
you're gonna slide around the park, you're gonna get all muddy, and then it's kind of faded and a bit gross for the rest of its time.
I'm looking forward to meeting your family at the QPR away game. We did touch on it earlier. Tom and I've managed to get tickets for Loftus Road today, so 6 tickets. Tom is coming with his whole family. Well, his mum and his dad and his wife.
Yeah.
No, date night, date day.
Date day, yeah.
And me and my dad, we're all sitting together, so that's going to be quite interesting because I've never met Tom's family before. I've met his wife on a few occasions, a few birthdays, but I've never actually met his family before. Looking forward to meeting your parents.
You can come to the Northern Soul night with us afterwards if you want.
Oh, no. Do you do the dancing?
Oh, yeah.
I've actually been to a Northern Soul club before. I didn't feel comfortable there.
Did you not?
Nah, not really.
Didn't like the tunes?
No. I was trying to do the dancing. I wasn't very good at it, and I felt like the proper Northern Soul dancers were judging me. But I was just having a go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be quite good.
Oh, yeah, I'll be right into it.
Right, enough Northern Soul.
I'll get Chris Dolan down.
And Tom Julian. I can't see Dolan at the Northern Soul.
Oh, yeah.
No. I don't reckon he's got the moves.
Well, we'll see.
All the gear, no idea.
All right, come on then.
So, Noah says, Tom, you need more date nights, alluding to the fact that Villa win when Tom didn't watch the game.
Obviously works.
Chris Dolan's asked when he's making another appearance on the podcast. Not sure. Needs a Tom Julian holiday.
Yeah, I met up with Chris Dolan yesterday. We had a little chat before the Preston game.
He told me that he saw you, yeah. Jack Hurley, looking to get the Villa home shirt. What name do I get between these three?
Oh.
Keenan Davis, Conor Hourihane or Andre Green, and he's put a little poll there. Conor Hourihane's flying, 61%.
I vote for Conor Hourihane. Interesting to see you didn't.
I vote for Keenan Davis, yeah. Just to be a bit different. I've not seen too many Keenan Davis shirts around Villa Park.
If you want to vote on that, that's Jack_Hurley_R on Twitter. You've got a couple of days to get yourself into that one.
Andre Green's on 0% at the moment. Brad, 1993. What's happened to Tom making some chance? What has happened?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Mine was terrible.
Yeah.
But at least I did one when I said I would.
I was
You've
thinking
let
about
yourself
this.
down.
I thought about this earlier on.
You just said you didn't see it coming.
No, I didn't see this question.
Which one is it?
I was
came in late.
Yeah, I was thinking about it earlier on, like in the week. And I think we should get a chant going about beards. We've probably got the strongest beard game in the league.
You including me?
Very much am.
I'm getting rid of mine. I don't like it.
Do you?
No, I'm getting rid of it.
When?
Probably Friday. Tomorrow, before Facebook Live with Ian Taylor on Saturday. I don't want to look like a scruff on Villa's official Facebook.
Have you not had a beard on there before?
Not like this, though. It needs a tidy at the very least.
It needs some Just for Men, that's what it needs.
It does certainly need some Just for Men.
I was thinking about a beard tune. I haven't got one. I'm not going to lie, it's been a hectic week, but I will get you one for next week. I promise. I 100% promise. If I don't, I'll do a Gary Lineker and do the show in my pants.
Oh, God, I don't know. One wants to say that. I certainly don't. Kieran Marks at Swarmsy. With the under-23s performing so well, which players would you like to see break into the first team? Ideally, you'd like to see all the young players break into the first team, but it's probably not going to happen.
Callum Maher's the obvious one, isn't it? Leiden's been playing well.
I don't think he's going to quite...
You don't think he's going to make it?
He's not getting in the squad now when there's injuries. I think he's going to struggle. I think he needs a loan in January at the very least.
Mitch Clark as well. I
like the look of him. He's the one I'd like to see.
He played really well, obviously, when he deputised in the Carabao Cup.
I saw something about Chelsea were looking at him or something on social media the other day. I don't know how true that is. Probably not true. Follows me on Twitter. I'll ask him if that's true, whether he knows of any interest from Chelsea.
How many Twitter drops have you had today?
Few.
Dropped a few,
yeah.
Aston
Radford. Alan Hutton, a better left back than right back. Discuss. We've kind of already done that.
Yep.
I think he has to concentrate more at left back, so I think that helps him.
I always used to find when I played and I was a bit hungover, I'd concentrate more and then
You're suggesting that Alan Hutton's hungover?
No, not at all. But you might have to when you concentrate more, you generally play a better game.
Max Roberts, what do I have for dinner tomorrow? I'm presuming he's probably already had his dinner.
Pie and chips.
Now, pie and chips, Tom says. So Tom is the food connoisseur, so go with him. Rob Henry, is Bruce an astute or a lucky manager or both? How has he achieved what no Villa manager has since Martin O'Neill, a team that does not expect to lose? I
think it would be unfair to say that he was just lucky. He's won in this league before. He knows what he's doing. He's 12 unbeaten, and Bruce is a big part of that. He's also assembled this squad that is able to do it. So yeah. I think he takes a big. I think if you're going to put all the blame on him when we lose, then you have to give him the respect. That
was something I thought of earlier. I didn't write it down, but that's a very valid point. People slam him. anytime we lose a game or we don't win games that people think they should. So he deserves equal praise when we do well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's had a bit of luck in the sense that I think he stumbled upon a few players through injury because Adoma was out the 18.
Well, let's not get into it. Every team needs luck. If you're going to win a league or get promoted or do anything, then you need a little bit of luck along the way. And maybe Bruce is having his share of that now, but that goes along with his managerial quality as well.
He's been promoted more times than anyone else from the Championship in history, so that's not luck, is it?
Yeah,
that's a talent.
Great.
Jack Hurley again. Where do we strengthen in January? Younger holding midfielder, backup left back. Maybe the need for a left back isn't as urgent as I thought it was. Now I think Hutton will probably be the backup left back for the rest of the season.
There's another question coming up. I think if you could buy a quality Premier League player, where would you buy? And I think a holding midfielder would certainly be an option for that.
I'd say just a normal central midfielder. I think we're pretty strong everywhere at the moment. I don't think we need any players.
Yeah.
I'd say a more creative central midfielder, perhaps.
Creative?
Yeah, a bit more of a creative eye for a pass central midfielder. If anything, but I don't think we really need anyone. I'm going to be honest.
Oh yeah, I would tend to agree, but I think we need somebody who's a bit younger, who's going to do the Whelan Jedinak kind of role in there. Maybe a younger Michael Carrick.
I think Whelan and Jedinak have got that covered between them.
What if we go up in the Premier League?
Oh, no, but he's not talking about in the Premier League. He's talking about in January.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was amalgamating the questions there.
Yeah, you're getting confused.
Sorry.
Set the target for the November fixtures that E&F asked for. Jordan Spencer.
Sorry, just before that, if you have your, I don't think we mentioned this at the time, if you've got your predictions for November for the points total, include the 3 points that we've already got and add them on and put them in the comments. That'd be great. And yeah, we'll have a look at them next week.
Not you, Chris Dolan.
No.
We don't want to hear
15 out of 15, no doubt.
Although I was tempted for the 15 out of 15 this time, to be honest. Jordan Spencer, would you put Terry in the same bracket as Larson, Melberg, etc.? Championship or not, I would. Chester and Terry over Dunn and Collins for me. I very much like both Terry and Chester, but I don't think you can bracket either of them with Melberg and Larson just yet. At the end of the season, if we've been promoted, John Terry will probably have played not far off the amount of games Larson actually ended up playing.
Yeah.
In the end, well, actually, it would be a fair bit away, but I think Larson played under 100 games.
Melberg
for us. Melberg
was phenomenal.
Incomparable or incomparable. I can't think which way around it is.
You're slipping with these words.
It's getting late now, isn't it? It's getting
incomparable,
getting on.
I
think it's incomparable, but never mind. Let us know in the comments which variation.
It's definitely incomparable.
It is. I don't think you could put anyone near Melberg at the moment in recent times. Obviously, McGrath, Southgate, people like that were McGrath's obviously the best player that's ever played for Villa.
The other bit of that comment confused me a little bit. Terry and Chester or Dunn and Collins. I don't really have that fond memories of Dunn and Collins. I
never liked Collins.
I didn't like Collins either. And for me that they haven't played together that long, so it's a little bit unfair still. But Terry and Chester are racing away with that comparison.
What else have we got here? Mark Hutton, do we now learn lessons from Keenan Davis's rise and start to trust our academy more and start blooding them instead of buying people like Hogan, etc.? I think he raises a decent point there. I've championed Hogan a lot, but it is increasingly looking likely that it's not going to work out for Hogan. Mm-hmm. But I'd say he'll be here for the rest of the season because if we sell him, it would be to a rival, and that would be madness.
Yeah.
And I'm still hoping it's going to come good for him. But he's obviously got Codger and Davies ahead of him now. It's going to be hard for him.
Yeah, sorry. As Christmas comes, there's going to be more and more games again. It's going to get very, very busy. We're going to need Hogan to be ready. But we're also going to need these young players, and hopefully we will then see a few of them blooded around Christmas period.
The other thing is football can change very quickly. As I said earlier, Adoma was out the 18, and then a few weeks later he was banging in the goals 4 games in a row.
Hutton as well.
So, yeah, things can change very quickly. I still want it to work out for Hogan so desperately because I do think he's a very good player. Mm-hmm. We've discussed the league third kit. Henry Naylor, do we need Green? Personally, I don't think he's clinical enough yet, and in an important season, is he worth the risk? Well, he's out for the next few months still.
Seems a bit harsh. I think before he was injured, he was one of our highest flying prospects, and he was really creative. And if I'm not mistaken, most Villa fans were very, very high on him. Maybe a little bit too high and putting too much pressure on him, if anything. So I'm looking forward to having him back, and I hope he'll resume his Villa career the way he really started this season, attacking it and taking his opportunities. And I wish him all the best for his recovery.
Injury at a bad time for him. Obviously, he just scored his first goal. I think when everyone's fit, there's room for Green in the 18 for certain.
Yep.
Guy Poxon, for those who couldn't watch the game last night, how would you describe it in 3 words? I wrote 3 words down.
Did
actually.
you? I haven't seen this. Well, I haven't watched it, so I didn't watch the live game.
How would you describe date night in 3 words?
Irish, enjoyable, Bills.
God, gotta hope your wife is not listening, because that is not hardly a ringing endorsement.
What do you want?
Just name places you've gone rather than
Irish, enjoyment.
Bills.
Bills was good.
Yeah, but come on.
We didn't talk about Bills. Bills was lovely.
God.
Right, how would you describe the game in 3 words?
Efficient, clinical and solid.
Sounds like date night, to be fair.
Everything that this podcast hasn't been. Well, to be fair, I think it is.
On that note, let's call it a day. Thank you so much again for joining us. We really appreciate it. We're almost up to the hour mark again. We were talking on WhatsApp the other day, you and I, weren't we? We've got about 85 iTunes reviews.
I haven't checked this week, actually.
No, me neither. But if you haven't reviewed the show and you like it, you're listening on iTunes right now, and you've got to this far, then congratulations.
Yeah, well done.
But if you could drop us a little a review, as many stars as you like, up to 5, obviously. Podcast won't be able to see what
the
you
videos
just
will
did.
see it. Wrong audience.
Yeah, if you could leave us a review, that would be absolutely amazing. It's great for us to promote the show, and we really appreciate it. If you want to get involved on YouTube, get involved in the comment sections, because we love talking with you, and that's kind of why we're here.
That's what the Villa View is, communicating with the fans and being a voice for the fans, getting the fans heard. I will be doing fan cams, I believe, on Saturday after the game, Sheffield Wednesday, so come and see me outside the Holt End and get your views heard, where hopefully we'll be discussing 3 points for Aston Villa against the Owls.
I'll be doing fan cams at Real Madrid v Las Palmas.
Is that where you're going to?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on a bad run, Real Madrid.
Yeah, they are.
You're going at the wrong time.
Zidane's under pressure.
Yeah.
Coach of the year under
pressure.
pressure.
Could be Zidane's last game.
Well.
If you are on Facebook, then watch Facebook Live on Saturday afternoon about 2 o'clock. I'll be on with Ian Taylor, dissecting the team news and talking about the last few weeks for the Claret and Blues. Little self-plug for me there. But obviously everyone loves Ian Taylor, and some people like me. Some.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching, listening, all that jazz. We'll be back next week. Don't know what day, but we will let you know on Twitter soon. Thank you very much. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.